great. Thank you very much. I'm a novice to this business banter thing, so please be very gentle with me. As Jackie said, my introduction to this event came through social media, through someone I'd met on Twitter. Well, actually I'd met on Facebook and then through Twitter, but that's another issue. And when I was asked to, Stephen suggested I come here and present, I thought, right, what am I going to do? What am I going to talk about here? So my first thought was my talk was going to be called I Hate Social Media, but I didn't think in Social Media Week that would go down very well. And it's not social media that I hate, it's actually the term social media, because it gives the impression that it is a social thing. And when I define social, I mean it's things you do in your spare time, it's nothing to do with business. But the way we've looked at it is business media, and I think that's better. The presentation is called, well, define your marketing strategy, not social marketing strategy, and be afraid to change it again, dropping the social word. Because over 18 months, we have gone on a journey. We started out, beginning of the recession, said, well, what are we going to do here? You know, how are we going to get work? How are we going to deal with this? So what we decided to do was define a marketing strategy 18 months ago. We reviewed our website, we thought we'll get a new website, get that up and running, and we set two goals. One was to increase our brand awareness. Now, we're based in Ayr, we're architects, we're out with the Glasgow, we're out with the Edinburgh bubble, but we've done quite well. You know, we've got clients like Whitbread who do Premier Inns, we work for the NHS, we do a lot of Health Facility Scotland work, so we've always had a problem with brand awareness. The other thing we wanted to do heading into recession was to keep in touch with our existing clients. You know, we knew, yes, they weren't going to build, but in 18 months, 2 years, 3 years time, they were going to build again once things picked back up, and we wanted to make sure that they remembered us. So we got our new website. We then had a broadcast portion built into the website so that we could issue a newsletter. And at the same time we thought, yeah, let's move on to social media, and I had real problems trying to talk my other partners into this, who were slightly older than me, because they thought, again, it's something you did in your spare time, the boys do at lunchtime, it's nothing to do with this. So we just went on to all the social media platforms we could get, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, we tried everything, okay? We quickly realised there was two issues. One, issuing a weekly e-newsletter required a lot of content. Now initially when we started, we had plenty of stories for a bit of practice, and that was the whole point. We were issuing stories, we were going out there, we were telling everybody about what we did. And secondly, we suddenly realised that we spent a lot of time in LinkedIn, we spent a lot of time in Facebook, and we were getting nothing, no return from it. Nobody was talking about us. We were trying to engage, people weren't engaging, it wasn't working for us. Twitter was working for us, slightly, so being architects, we like to tweak with things, we like to continually improve, we like to make things better. So we reviewed what we were doing. Quite simply, we said, right, this isn't working for us. What do we do? Now that happened in a period of about 6 months. We didn't give it time, we thought, no, it's a fast moving business, let's do it. So what did we do? We analysed the content that we were producing in our newsletters. We spoke to clients and said, do you like our newsletter? Yeah, it's all right, but you know, you're talking about yourself all the time. Okay. We had a strategy, we needed a strategy to increase the hits to our website, to get people back to the website. Now we're doing that through our e-newsletter, but we needed something else to do that as well, again to increase the brand awareness. We looked at what content other people were issuing out there and what we liked. Now one of the things I hate is people selling to me all the time, and we were doing that. We didn't realise it, but we were doing it. So we liked people, liked to converse with them, and people weren't doing that with us, so we changed the way that happened. And we reviewed who we were following. Now I was trying to, through all these social media platforms, follow clients or potential clients. I never in a million years thought I would follow other architects, but I now follow quite a few architects because I get a lot of information from them and a lot of help. So what did we do after that review? Well, quite simply, we started blogging, which was something I never thought we would do, because I like to read other people's blogs, I like to read what they were doing. So we did that. We revised our e-newsletter content quite dramatically. We stopped the big hard sell. We had a few stories at the practice. We reduced the size of it down to 3 stories. We changed the time it was issued. It came on a Friday afternoon. It was a wee bit more light-hearted. It had stories that didn't relate to the practice. And what we try and do is maybe a story about the practice, maybe a story about what was relevant, and a really silly story at the bottom. And it's really helped. We interact with our followers. We actually ask questions, we respond, and that's been a huge thing. Although we've still got a presence in Facebook and a presence in LinkedIn, Twitter is probably our main output. We find that we get a lot of information from it, a lot of interaction in it. We're still trying hard with the other two platforms, but we feel LinkedIn is just, it's like my son's Facebook page. He just collects followers. They don't interact. And I feel LinkedIn, and I would love somebody to tell me that it's completely different. That's all it is. It's for business contacts. People don't interact. And another thing we did, we had a PR consultant many years ago, a vast amount of money every month to try and raise a profile. And we found that what we were doing was actually doing their job, so we dumped them, quite simply. And we do it ourselves. And we included the press, the magazines, the industry e-newsletters on our weekly distribution list, and that has really increased the profile. So the results from our review are weekly now we broadcast to over 2,000 email subscribers. Now when we started this we had about 700 and odd. Now I'm not Next, I'm not Marks and Spencer's, I'm not interested in selling a lot of products. We sell a specific service, so to get out to 2,000 email addresses is actually quite good. For our size of industry. Our practice news is picked up by a lot of the industry newspapers, and when we issue on a Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll probably see one of our stories picked up in the press, which is obviously increasing our brand awareness. Our web traffic, from our old website, was 100,000 hits a year. In the first 6 months, it increased to 150,000 in the end of 2010. This year, we've already had 450,000 hits, and we're on target for 650,000 hits. So you can see there's a massive increase in the traffic flow back to our website. But the most important thing is we've actually secured work as a direct result of what we've been doing. Now, I include our issue of our e-newsletter as part of our social media strategy, or our marketing strategy. You don't have to issue it in Twitter. It's a similar thing. So tips, I've thought long and hard about this, and I've got a lot to say, and if you follow me on Twitter you'll see that, and follow my blogs. But we regularly review your content of what you put out and what platforms. I think that's really important. Find out exactly what people listen to and what they like to do. Try posting the content at different times. What we found is that we're all busy, and sometimes you do it in the train, or you get a break at lunchtime, or you spend time doing it. There are applications out there that will allow you to spread out your tweets. Use them, you know, and depending on what time of the day, use different content. During the business day, we do business content. Generally at night, we talk with friends on Twitter and build up that rapport in that way. Analyse what you're posting and find out what people are interested in reading in. I know that sounds a bit difficult to do, but it's very easy. You know, you issue something, if people are interested, they will respond to you. And you think, well, that's interesting, let's move that post on. Use tools like Buffer, Google Analytics, and the stats from your own website. That's how we know exactly what's been good, what's not good. You know, we had a post, we're struggling for content one week, and we did a thing, 10 things you didn't know about Lawrence McPherson Associates, the practice. And one of those issues was one of our male employees used to be a bra fitter in Marks and Spencer's. We get 6,500 hits that afternoon because everybody wanted to know, A, you've got a male ex-bra fitter, and B, who was it? And that's the biggest hits we've had on a Friday, 6,500 hits. And that doesn't include the emails, the Twitter chat, and the Facebook chat that all came with that. So that to us has told us that people are interested in the social side of our practice and the people behind the practice. If I've got one tip for you, and that's carefully consider auto posting. It is my bugbear. I follow 2 or 3 people across all the platforms, and when I'm in LinkedIn, I'll read it. When I'm in Twitter, I'll read it again, and then I read it again in Facebook. And okay, it's good getting it the first time. By the time you get to the other ones, it really is a bugbear for me, and I just switch off to people who do that. And again, that's my own personal opinion. You may be slightly different, but from that point of view, we used to do the scattergun approach, and we used to post all over that, and I suddenly realised that wasn't working for us. It wasn't happening, so we changed that, and that was a decision that we made. I said earlier on, review your marketing strategy and don't be afraid to change it. We constantly review it. We constantly review the stats, and we constantly review what everything happens, and we just change it all the time. And it might be the way to go, it might not. We don't tend to persevere. We keep a presence on all the websites, absolutely, we keep that, but we have to change it. We have to make sure that we're generating to meet our business strategy. As I said to you, 18 months ago we started out with an aim to increase our brand awareness, and that's happened, and we can see as a direct result we'll get more work out of it. Recently, in a push to get architects onto Twitter, or probably to increase their own profile, the Architects Journal, who are probably the most renowned magazine in the UK, decided to find out who was on social media. So they got all these architects to register with a website called Peer Index. Now, don't ask me how it works, but it basically calculates your web traffic and your influence and all these sort of things. I finished the top architect in Scotland on that 3 months ago, and 12th in the UK. Now, why that happened, I haven't a clue. It was a real surprise to me, because I've got this wee practice down in Ayrshire. I'm not in the Glasgow set, but I know why it happened. It's because of the media traffic and our strategy. Looking at it, we knew, and we could tell from Peer Index, that getting everybody back to our website was causing that. That's what helped. So analysing, it's very easy to do, but analyse what you do to death. That would be my biggest tip of today. Thanks for listening to me anyway, but I can discuss any of this with anybody after. I'll let the next speaker get on, but thank you very much.